Watch Dr. Drew's new show at 9 on HLN. Weeknights on HLN.
Jeff, did you think that your team would get a chance to cross-examine her?
Pardon me, at the time the opening statement was done, we assumed so, because it would seem based on that opening that she would have to testify. As the case wore on, though, I began to think that she wouldn't testify, though Linda and Frank both still thought she would. As we got closer to the end, it was sort of obvious that she was not going to testify, and understandably why, because I don't know that she would have helped herself had she testified.
If she had, do you think the jury might have been influenced to vote differently?
If what I'm understanding from those few hints we've gotten from the jury, probably not, because it sounds like their decision was based simply on the state's case. And I don't know if she would have said anything that would have changed that. It would have been interesting, though. Linda was going to do the cross-examination, and she's really good, and it would have been an interesting 4 or 5 hours of trial drama.
Now, Jeff, Casey's team wanted her declared mentally incompetent. What was that about? Do you think that she wanted to take the stand?
Well, those proceedings were sealed by the court, and they haven't been unsealed yet, so I can't really talk about that at this point. That
would have been interesting. Just for my viewers, I speculate all the time about what is going on with her from a mental health standpoint, and wondered why more of that kind of data wasn't collected on her, but it was, and it's sealed.
Right, exactly. At this point, it's sealed. So.
Earlier today, I interviewed Tracy McLaughlin. She's an associate of Leonard Padilla, the bounty hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And she stayed in the Anthony home with Casey when Casey was out on bail in 2008. Listen as she describes Casey's demeanor before Kaylee's body had been found.
It was when Rob and I were driving her, and she said, "Oh, I know what Jose and I could do. We could go on the Howard Stern show. We could get some information out about Kaylee." And then she laughs and she says, "No, he'd want to know what my bra size was and if Jose was hitting it." She just said it was just funny to her. Everything was funny.
It's bizarre and chilling when you hear these stories. In retrospect, it's just awful. Now, Tracy also said that Casey talked to her about chloroform when she was there, and that Casey never seemed upset about Kaylee during those 9 days that Tracy stayed with her. Do you make anything of that?
Just more of the same. More of the Casey that we saw in the jail tapes that we saw in the 31 days, just more of the same, just acting in a way that, did not fit the profile of a mother that had lost a child.
Now, we all in the public and in the press certainly have got all this information about this let's call it unsavory behavior, problematic behavior. Do you think the jury really got that picture? Were they able to see that kind of data as well?
Well, we did everything we could to make sure they did. If they didn't see it, that it was because they didn't feel it was important. I mean, we certainly gave them weeks of testimony going through everything that Casey did from June 16th to July 15th. And then, of course, hours and hours of the jail tapes after that. So, they got as much information as they could about her behavior. And I credit the defense with doing a good job in trying to make it look like mental illness without saying so, because they couldn't. There's no mental health defense asserted, so they really couldn't argue that. But he did a nice job of making it sound like that. And I don't know what influence that had on the jury, but that was good.
That did intrigue me. It's funny the way you articulate that, because he admitted this person is not a wonderful person and is a severe liar. Let's concede that. He conceded that territory up front. And then he did build a case about the behavior of the cover-up being associated with, something like mental illness. Certainly nothing I would diagnose, but it's interesting.
Well, and that was part of the purpose of the initial closing argument that I did, was to show that these imaginary people were created for a reason. Each creation had a purpose, and each new wrinkle to the lie obtained something for her. So to kind of make it, to show the jury that this wasn't a fantasy, this was a calculated attempt to, accommodate new facts with new lies.
And it wasn't just random lying. It was lying with
premeditated
lying with purpose.
For a purpose,
and
for gain.
Interesting.